Morning, boys and girls. It's going to be a long day today. Let's fire up the John Deere and get started. The sun's just peeking over the sky here in beautiful North Carolina.
You hungry? Is it breakfast time? It's breakfast time. Sit. Sit.
Stoney Ridge Farm, Stoney Ridge.
Free.
Stoney Ridge Farm.
Good doggy.
Woo!
Good. Kitty kitties. Kitty kitties.
Gotta check on the baby chicks this morning.
Birdie birdies.
Looks like somebody's ready for some water. Good morning, everybody. Today is going to be a fun and busy day, and we're going to call this every tractor day or woods day. So we're starting off this morning. It's about 6:30 a.m. here in North Carolina. You can probably hear the tractor in the background there a little bit too much. What we're going to be doing here, first thing I got to do before I unhook the Woods BB72, and that's our extreme duty bush hog, which we don't need an extreme duty anymore. We bought that when we first bought the farm because this whole place was covered in brush, so it'll cut some big saplings. But what we've got to do is take the tractor down around the other side of the farm where we just built about a mile and a half of fence. The chiggers are bad right now. So chiggers are little biting insects that'll get in your pants legs. They'll get all around the hot spots, if you get my drift, like under your arms and in between your legs, and they will eat you alive. So we've got to get our fence ready to start rotating our cows on our new piece of land that we fenced over here, and it's about, I'm going to say 35 acres that we fenced in. So we've got to mow around that 2 laps, and then we'll take the Ventrac tractor on another day and take the finish mower, and we'll mow it down just like the lawn here in front of the house. That way we don't get ate up too bad with chiggers when we go tying our fence wire to our post. So that'll take about probably an hour and 10 minutes. So that puts us to about 8 o'clock. Next thing we're going to be doing, we're going to grab the TR3 rake, and we're going to head up to our pond site, and we're going to take the TR3 rake and we're going to rake through that, try to smooth it out a little bit. Then we'll disconnect the TR3 rake, we'll take the Ventrac, and we will smooth everything out beautifully with the landscape rake on the Ventrac tractor. And if you haven't seen that yet, you're gonna love it. Then we'll take the Woods Precision Super Seeder and the 240 tractor also, and I've got a big pile of grass seed in the shop right here that we're gonna put down. So we've got some native grasses, we've got some clover. There's gonna be more with the Woods Precision Super Seeder to come because we've got some areas of pasture that are a little bit sparse over here, and that's where that thing's going to shine. You'll get to see all that today. It's going to be a fun day. Let's get busy. All right? Woo! Got to feed the girls before we go off and get to work, right? Look who's waiting. Susie? Is Susie over here? That's Susie right there. Susie is my liquor. Oh, she's a treat. All right, guys, if this is your first time following the Stoney Ridge Farmer, this is what we do, guys. This is what we do. We work with equipment. We're building a first-generation farm here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and our small cow herd. We're going to build this herd up to somewhere around 40 or 50 by the end of the year next year, and Susie's waiting on her treat. Susie is a spoiled brat, so we're going to give Susie her special treat. There you go, Susie. Ooh, don't get greedy. So anyway, that's what's going on. Pound that like button, jump in, subscribe to the channel. Love to have you back. Let's get busy. This was not facing this direction. It was facing this direction. I just got into some trees and it pushed this toolbox over. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to bend it back. We'll see. Let's set the camera down. Well, that kind of worked. If you don't do nothing, you don't break nothing. This is our clover. We use a medium white top Ladino clover. Does absolutely great. All of our grass comes from Green Resources in Colfax, North Carolina. Great place. Cool. Let's head up the hill. All right, boys and girls, that's what you call a naked Ventrac. That's a Ventrac tractor with no attachment on the front. The way this thing hooks up, there are two forks right here, one there and one there, two bars. Basically, they go up and they catch in any implement. This is the tough cut deck that I've got to get out and do some work on, but they catch on these two bars right here. So basically with the Ventrac, you just drive right up to the implement. The cool thing about it is most everything you use is in the front. So this is a hydraulically adjusted landscape rake right here for the Ventrac, and I just hook up right there. Now, this thing is notorious for being a booger to hook up because the landscape rake is laid out like this. So we got to hook up our hydraulic lines and line up our landscape rake to hook up to the forks on the Ventrac. It sometimes is a little bit of a struggle, but thank goodness the tires are up on that thing. I am notorious for popping tires or running over nails or sharp rocks or something like that with this critter right here. And we've got a set of solid tires to go on it after we do this job. Cool, let's hook it up. This is why the Ventrac is the biggest little tractor on the farm. The Honey Badger is awesome. So right here's our hydraulic lines. All we'll do is we'll tuck them right in behind that little arm right there, and there's a hook on each side right here, and then there's a lever, and I'll show you the lever and I'll show you the hook, and that's how it all attaches, and it's ready to go in like 2 seconds versus a 3-point implement. You got to hop on and off and on and off and on and off. Sometimes you got to finagle this a little bit, you got to move it around, but the Ventrac attachments are light enough that you really, you can just move them by hand, no problem. Or you can just push right into them. I'll show you. That's the lever that you raise up and down to lock the implement in place. Once it falls down, it cannot come back up without you turning another lever, which is right down there. Okay, so it's simple mechanics. It just locks in place with simple mechanics. So when you're hooking and unhooking an implement, this gauge right here tells you how much weight you're putting on the implement. So when you unhook and you hook up, you want to be in 0, and then you want to be in full weight when you're using it. Depending on this landscape rake and how hard the ground is, that will determine where we set this level. It seems complicated, but it's really simple. We'll press our lever down that I just showed you. Bam! We're totally hooked up, ready to go. We're going to be using 2 different land smoothing devices because this works awesome and it will get some of the big debris out and smooth out the land. It's really rough up there, and this is awesome for finishing steep grades and stuff like that. So working on next to the pond, there's many a tractor been lost in a pond by getting too close. We don't want to do that. The Ventrac is the machine for a pond owner, absolutely. So let's go get the John Deere, take this up, drop it off, get the John Deere, and fire up the 240, let it get to good operating temperature too. We're gonna have 3 tractors rolling here in a minute. 3 tractors, 5 cameras, woo, good time. All right, so we're going from a 3-point implement, 1, 2, 3, with a PTO shaft to a 3-point implement with no PTO shaft. Now, the TR3 Rake is a whole lot better with a hydraulic top link. However, thank you, John Deere. I don't know if this is a John Deere part or what, but this connector has failed on me. before, and I've got a new one. I replaced the factory one, and the one below it has failed too, so now I can't use my hydraulic top link, which makes life so much better using a TR3 rake. Now I can use it without a hydraulic top link. I just have to set it to where it needs to be, the depth, and I'm on my rakers, and we'll show you those rakers here in just a minute. It's better that I explain it once we get hooked up. So we're gonna drop the brush cutter and pick up the TR3 tractor rake 3-in-1. I was chilly this morning. I'm breaking a sweat now. Guys, we're on a timeline, by the way. Since we bought the farm, I have gained 50 pounds. I don't know how a person can gain 50 pounds running around like I do, but evidently I did. Got a nice farmer tan here. So what we're doing is we're gonna set up the TR3 here, but I'm on a timeline. I wanna be done by 4. It is 2:12 right now. I wanna be done by 4 so that I can go take a shower before I go, but I'm gonna go and ride my mountain bike for about an hour and a half today. I'm trying to get in 3 good rides a week and lose this gut. So yeah, wish me luck. This is gonna be tough today. Just hooking up the seeder is gonna take quite some time. So the way the TR3 rake works is these wheels roll along the ground right here, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. 5 holes right in here where you can take the axle out and slide it up and down. We have it in the second hole. When we set this thing on the ground flat, what we want is our rear rake and our scrape blade, or our grader blade, 3-in-1, again, rake, grader blade, and rippers, or they call them scar fires. We want the scar fires to be in the ground about 3 inches or so. So we take a pin out right here, slide that pin out, no problem. We're gonna drop it down, and we'll put the pin back in another way. This is the scar fire right here, okay? That just digs in. It's just a tine, basically. Kind of like a, I guess similar to a box scrape, except for it does a whole lot more. And this will crown a driveway like nobody's business. So when I was telling you about the holes that the tire wheel axle rides in, those holes basically dictate the height of this. So if you put one at a lower height, which means forward, which means dragging the backside lower, and one at a higher height, it will adjust it to this direction right here, and you can crown your driveway properly so that it sheds water appropriately. We want both of them in the same position for this because we're smoothing and we're grading and we're making this, we're landscape raking too. So we're raking out big rocks, and you'll see the big old rocks. You can also, let me get this over here while I'm setting everything up. So that is our, it looks like a comb, but that is the landscape portion of it. And this was designed by a professional landscaper that saw a need for all-in-one product to grade new house construction. So he used it to grade new house construction. It was a guy that invented this, and it does super awesome. So he built it, and then other contractors were like, wow, man, you really got that done. You got it done in half the time. So you can push with this too. So not only can you pull debris like this, you can push debris also. The only reason we're using the landscape rake on the Ventrac is because of the pond. Otherwise, we'd be doing it with this the whole time. You'll see from the drone footage here in just a minute, I'm just going to go back and forth and back and forth, and we'll round the pond, back and forth until we break up and loosen up the dirt, and then we'll take the Ventrac rake and we'll finish up around the edges, and then we'll broadcast lime. First we'll broadcast grass seed, then we'll broadcast clover, then we'll broadcast our lime, and then we'll go over it with the drill. Okay, so we're gonna seed the snot out of this, but it sounds like a whole lot. It's really only gonna be 2 bags of grass seed, so 100 pounds of grass seed is all we're putting down, but it sounds like a ton. And how many? 150 pounds of lime. So we're on about an acre of land is what we're working with today. Let's get all these scar fires out. All you do, pull a pin, maybe pull a pin, pull one pin, pull the other pin, lower it down, and this has indexed areas all over it, so you can, there's just infinite number of settings that you can set this to. It takes about 3 minutes to adjust everything. This is the pond. It's about right at an acre, and it's right at an acre of dirt all around. You can see I've got a little grass seed on the dam already. It's very sparse. So here's what we got. That's a pretty rock. You notice this kind of stuff when you live in the country. That's pretty neat. So you can see how rough this is. That's a dip, that's a divot. Let's get you down a little closer. You'll see the before right now. And this is the after. Man, what an improvement. Doesn't that look nice? $4 o'clock. Yeah, right. It is now 3:30. There's no way I'm getting on a mountain bike today. So we loosened the dirt first with the TR3, and then we came in and we got all the debris up with the landscape rake on the Ventrac. There was one tractor I had to keep on this farm. That would be it. That thing can do anything. It is just unbelievably awesome. Ta-da! The climax of the day. So this is the Woods PSS72. It's a Woods Precision Super Seeder. I've already got it all set up, and I am fighting the rain. The sprinkles are coming, and I'm fighting the daylight. So I will literally take longer to explain this thing right now than it will for me to plant all the seed. I cannot take this and the John Deere over on that embankment right there. So I put seed in pretty heavy up there. It's just not stable enough. The belly of the 240 sits a little lower, and I brought the farm dogs out so we can get them in the pond. Water! They've been waiting. Water! Get it! They like to swim. All right, sidetrack, squirrel! So the PSS 72. So we've got some adjustments down here. Inside, this is my bag of native grass. This is another bag of fescue fall mix, landscape mix. And inside the hopper here is an adjuster. And I've already got it set up to run Ladino clover. So there are 3 hoppers on this. First hopper is small seed and clover, and evidently ants. This hopper right here is the big hopper, cool season grasses and cereal grains. Cool season grasses would be your fescue. So right here it says tall fescue. So we've got it all set up too. It's ready to rock and roll. I can't even remember what I set it at. That gauge is right down here, okay? What did I set it to? 3/8. 3/8 right here on this chart. 3/8 tall fescue. 47 pounds to the acre, okay? So we're gonna put our 50-pound bag, we're gonna split it between these two. This thing's gonna be loaded with seed, and we're gonna be taking it all over the farm here in a future video. Now, next hopper is native grasses. Open this hopper right here. Down inside are like discs. You can see those right there. We're gonna load this puppy up with all the native grasses that we got. Native grass seed is expensive. We'll let you know what kind of native grasses we put. There's also an adjustment. See that lever sticking up right there? So you can see these guys here. We're gonna get you in a little closer. This is a spiked roller. This is made for tearing up the ground ahead of the seeder, okay? We don't need these to tear up the ground ahead of the seeder. You can angle them in and out. The further outbound, the more of a ripping effect you get to open the land up so the seed will drop in. Back behind that is another roller. You can see the spikes, and we'll go to the rear of the machine real quick, but let me show you how this adjusts. So we've got a big handle right here. We'll pull this direction, and you can see those wheels get a little less aggressive cut, okay? Now, we'll drop our pin in place. So the Precision Super Seeder is set up to where it rips up the ground ahead of you. It puts a spike in the ground underneath. There is a spiked roller, and then there is a cultipacker on the rear right here that packs it all down. So that lines it all up perfectly. So there are seed tubes right here. These tubes are what the clover seed's going to fall down through. There are tubes back in here, and that's what our fescue seed's going to fall through. And then on the very back, there's like a wheeled gear. Let's open up real quick. I'm going to open this bag of native grasses since I've got it sitting right here. This little bag was expensive. So what do we have here? Native grass mix. Virginia wild rye, Indian grass, lance leaf, coreopus, I don't know, eastern gamma grass, switchgrass, and little blue stream. So that's a lot of different grass seeds in there. I can't wait to see what it looks like. It's going to be a cornucopia of grass seeds. Somebody taught me that term the other day. Cornucopia. When there's a whole bunch of different stuff, it's a cornucopia of something. Okay, cool. So let's whip it out. Here's a handful of it. That's probably $8 worth right there. So all these are wild grass seeds, okay? Right? You've got some bigger seeds in there. You can see why you've got to have a bigger hopper. Cool. So that's what the native grasses are. I'm going to put that gold back in the bag. This is more expensive by pound than the clover is. The clover is $110 or something like that, $120, something like that per bag. This little bag is only, I think, 20 pounds. And I think I paid $70 for it, maybe less, maybe a little less. We're gonna load her in here. Let's load the hoppers up. One piece of advice, if you decide to get a Precision Super Seeder, understand this is the PSS 72. It is, got my hand. It is heavy, 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 heavy. So they asked me if I had a loader system on my tractor when I ordered it because it's so darn heavy. We're just gonna put half in this hopper and half in this hopper. 50 pounds of fescue in here. Pretty simple. Wherever you put your seed in your seeder, whether it's a broadcast seeder or one of these, a no-till drill, this is about as close as you can get to a no-till for overseeding without a full-on no-till system. This is specifically designed for food plots, pastures, and grass. So it's awesome. Just know, if you're going to put seed in the hoppers, be sure you park on a place that needs seed because you're going to drop some, okay? All right. Now, this isn't a PTO-driven piece of machinery. This rides right along the ground. There's a little slide right here where our top link goes in. You can see that. So it floats along the ground with the contour of the land. We're going to start right here. We'll go across the dam. We'll back in right there. We'll drop it and we'll just kind of go around. That's it. Let's toss the drone up and see this thing in action. what a day, man. What a day. Guys, I'm real happy with the super seeder. Look at that. It just cuts little grooves into the ground. Looks real nice. I'm gonna go over this a couple more times just for giggles. I'm just gonna do it until I can't see anymore out here. So, but it's time for me to say goodbye to you. I've got to get this thing and I'm gonna park it under a shed, and hopefully within 3 days, once this rain hits, we're supposed to have 3 days of rain, then I'll take the precision super seeder out on pasture and we'll find all those places that need a little bit of attention and we'll nail them with the super seeder. I hope you enjoyed this long day. Going mountain biking was a pipe dream, man. No way I was gonna get that done. So the dogs are having fun in the water. Get that water, boy. And I'm having fun on the tractor. We'll see you guys next time on the Stoney Ridge. Pound the like button, jump in, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and pick up a hat or a shirt if you want to. You can go to StoneyRidgeFarmer.com, pick yourself up a hat or a shirt. Good Christmas gift for a fan. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Woo! Got her done. Beautiful.
Well, come on down to the Stony Ridge. Bring your wife